Gayle in West Hartford. Gayle, what's going on?
Hey, Tom. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. My name's Gayle Harris, and I'm running for Board of Education in West Hartford in November. And I was listening to some of the things that you were talking about, particularly the crime that's going on in our towns, and now obviously still schools.
So, Gayle, what's the fix for the schools?
Well, part of the problem is that a lot of this is coming from the state. So we've sort of abdicated a lot of our local control at school systems. And the state has all these mandates and all these, things that we have absolutely no control over. So, for example, a juvenile that does something or a crime is released often back into the community within hours. There's absolutely no accountability. There's no repercussions. And those, some of these things, really the local level has little control over.
Okay, so if a kid gets caught stealing the sink from West Hartford High School, can he be tossed out of school?
It's complicated. There's probably a bunch of mandates and a bunch of regulations, and it's not so simple. It's not any type of simple solution to these problems because the school district has to follow all kinds of state mandates on these issues. And so, we've seen an uptick in West Hartford of all types of juvenile crime, from carjackings and other criminal activity, and often these kids are back on the streets very quickly. But
are they back? Is there a kid in the Hall High School right now who was arrested last night for a carjacking? Is that something that could happen?
Could they be arrested for a carjacking?
No, could they be back in school the next day?
Again, it probably depends on multiple factors. I don't know the exact answer to that question, but I do know that it's very hard to keep these kids from becoming repeat offenders.
So if there's, like we said, that the kids are stealing all the stuff in all the bathrooms, the school can't bring in police officers.
Yeah, it's a big problem. And we are allowing the minority to, to control the entire situation, while the kids who basically are there trying to get an education have to suffer.
Okay, but Gayle, help me again here. Let's say you're having an assembly at one of the high schools in West Hartford, and a brawl breaks out. Who is supposed to intervene?
Well, eventually I believe that we would call the police in, but, schools are hesitant to do this now. They want to make, schools feel safe, and I guess it depends on what your idea of safety is.
So that's interesting. So schools are hesitant to do this because the schools feel that the students could feel more unsafe if the police are around?
I think that there's some sense of that. However...
Wow.
If I was a student, I would certainly feel safe having knowing that.
If I was getting my head pummeled on the bleachers, I would feel unsafe during the pummeling, but more safe when it stopped because of a cop. But if you're telling me that the going attitude in schools now is that the kids are going to feel threatened by the police, then I think we've got a big problem there, Gayle.
Yeah, I think that safety in our schools is paramount, and I guess it depends. We have to look at that. Like, what defines safety? How do you define safety?
Gayle, I appreciate the call. Gayle in West Hartford, she's running for school board. If that doesn't say, thank you for the call, Gayle. If that ain't scary, we can't call the cops. We can't call us cops to the schools because we've convinced the kids that the cops are killers, and the kids will feel unsafe. So we'll just cede over the schools to the kids. Hopefully they'll tire themselves out after doing so much pipe work and plumbing, reverse plumbing, that the kids will tire themselves out and grow bored of it so we can have a school again. But meanwhile, we have a reverse vocational school where the kids only learn to undo all of the plumbing and all of the other fixtures